we are. Hello, everybody. How we're doing? Who do we have here? We got Ken F, MW, Jillian K, Janice, Memphis Stefan. I'm assuming that's from Memphis. So we got Memphis, Montana. We got the UK. We got, I don't know where West Berkshire is, but sounds like it's West Country. We have Maple Leaf. I'm assuming that's a Canadian. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see if those are garlics or chickens. But hello, Maple. Uh, yeah, we're gonna wait for 3 more minutes before we get started. Uh, yeah, I'm super glad you're all here. Um, 6 of you so far. So it's been a year since we did these tours, or just about a year. Um, there's gonna be a lot of us because I'm just waking up. If I'm being very honest, I slept in today and it was really, really nice. But I've had my coffee and I had some breakfast now, and we're 2.5 minutes away from getting started. So today, if did anybody has anybody come on one of these last year? Did anybody do one of these walks last year? Um, awesome. Okay, yeah, I think I remember you. From Calgary, yes. God, it's got to be freezing there still, hey? Um, but so last year, basically, what I was doing is taking us on. I had tapped all the trees, and we would go collect the sap out of every bucket, every tour. Today, this week, basically, the weather conditions on the report looked like it was going to be great to get started. It was supposed to be above freezing every day and below freezing every night. For my friends in the States and anybody who uses Imperial, um, if I say zero, I mean 0 Celsius, which is freezing. If I say below zero, it just means below freezing. I forget what that is in Fahrenheit. 34, 54, 104, 4, 1. I don't know. But anyway, it was supposed to be below freezing at night, above freezing during the day. But it hasn't really been that way. It's even still a little cold today, but I didn't want to put it off. So we'll do the little tour today, which rather than touring all the trees and collecting sap out of buckets, because I haven't put any buckets yet, because it hasn't been time to tap. Today we can get away with doing one. I think we're probably a few days early, but it's okay. It won't hurt the tree, and well, no more than drilling a hole into a tree trunk does anyway. And so we'll go through the whole mechanics, and so it'll be a slightly different tour. And then on upcoming tours, we'll be able to walk the entire woods and kind of do the tours we were doing the last year. But I'm hoping this year is actually kind of good, because if you're anywhere west of here, because I'm South Shore, Nova Scotia, so about as far east, unless you're in PEI or Newfoundland, as you can get here. Um, so we get the weather for tree tapping first, which means that if you're paying attention, if you want to learn, this would be a great little way to kind of understand the very beginnings of how you would do it, because it's not hard. It just takes a little bit of stuff and a little bit of knowledge and trees. With that said, we are on. Hello, everyone. Okay, my name's Eric. I am not wearing my glasses, so everything's a little blurry. Hello, Robin E. Hello, wow, hello, everybody. How many people are here now? 17. Wow, this is a great turnout. Okay, so what I was just saying to everybody else, I think you all got me, is this is not the tour that we did last year. Last year, we went from tree to tree, emptying all the buckets. This year, we are going to do that, but it's still just a smidge early. I haven't put any spiles in, so we're going to do the first tree today. We're going to tap it. I'm going to show you how that looks and how that works. Talk about how to do it low cost and whatever. And then subsequent tours, we will check all the buckets and talk more about that. And maybe this year, I'm thinking this year I'd like to have an actual boil, but the mechanics of that, I need to get like a cauldron basically, and I don't own a cauldron, so. But we are going to try for that this year as well. So without further ado, I guess what we'll do is take a walk through the woods and find our maple tree. So start that way. So I'm going to turn the camera so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. So this, it's probably pretty hard to see. Over the winter, I've been busy because I've been cutting trails into the woods. So we'll try to walk along the trail. It's easier to see in person. It never really the camera. Oh, thank you. The camera really flattens everything, so I don't know if it's as visible that it's a trail or not. Maybe you can visit someone who has a cauldron and is boiling the syrup already. That'd be great. I mean, nobody's making syrup yet. It's too early in the season, Robin. So today is going to be, I'm going to show you how to tap a tree. We don't have any other traps to check yet. And then I think we're going to try to do that ourselves here. So this is my little trail I've been cutting on the winter. Yes, absolutely, Maple, next tour. Well, we've got a month of these now. I'm going to try to step up I keep saying this and then I keep being really lazy about it, but I'm going to try to step up my tour schedule here. I think I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but I have plans for the property. I'm in contact with a group that helps people do startups. But until I'm actually approved to be helped by this program, I can't talk about what the ideas are. But in the next few weeks, I get to make some announcements about the property and about visitors and all sorts of fun stuff. But right now, we're just walking this trail that I've been cutting. So, yeah. This, you know what, I'll just have a look around. It's a pretty beat up right now. We got a lot of wind. I think you kind of heard the last little bit. So, like, there's a tree that's completely knocked down, right? You can see the root, like, that's because where we are. I mean, if you see these rocks, I mean, this is right under this massive tree, right? So when the wind comes, they just don't have a lot to hold on to. There's not a lot of soil here. And a lot of these trees are, they're great. They're fast growing. They're good to use for lumber, but they're not really as rugged as a lot of trees that do better here, much like maples and some of the other hardwoods. And then the eastern pines, which are these I'm trying to see one right here. Okay, we'll see one in the clearing, but there are some beautiful, beautiful pines here that are made for this kind of coastal area. But anyway, so we're going to walk this little trail. We're going to come to some maple trees. This is my sketchy bridge, which isn't finished yet. Hello, Angela, Marcy, and Beth. So this is not obviously done. It's all sketchy, and it's not actually nailed in place yet. So I'm going to walk beside it. First tour. Sound interesting. Fresh maple syrup is. Oh man, it does. But I mean, everything about the woods is such a treat, you know. I spent a lot of time living in. Oh yeah, this is the sawdust from where I was cutting everything. Spent a lot of time living in the city. And I used to love going camping whenever possible and canoeing and whatever. And finally getting enough money and opportunity to move out into the woods and make a go out of it out here has been, I think, sanity saving, honestly. Oh, okay. So this is one of those like beautiful eastern pines. You ready for it? So, oh my God, look at that thing. I wish there was a way to do it justice. Like God, they're beautiful. Look at that thing go. Like just like massive branches. There's one close to the field where I like to sit over, and you can sit in it. It's really nice. So here's, yeah, mine too, Beth. So down this little path here, this is based on size where you tap it. I'm going to get into it, and I will get into it actually right now once I get to a maple tree. So this is a tree that also fell down that I've been cutting into boards because I got a chainsaw mill. So what if we go to this tree? So over the winter, I went around and I marked trees with red tape, trail tape. And so that's so that I would know what maples are. I mean, there's other ways to tell. If we look, let's see, at this branch coming off of this maple tree here, it's just a little offshoot branch, but you can see right there how the two branches are shooting off at the same spot because they're what's called opposed. So maple trees grow their branches and stuff, they grow them opposed, which means that well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Many trees shoot out alternating, right? So you go one on one side, one on the other side, one on one side, one on the other side. Maples and a few others, it's rarer, will shoot them out opposed. So there you go. So to just talk about ands, does the taste of the syrup vary based on size, where you tap it, etc.? I'm not sure about that. I know that it does change. The flavor changes based on the time of year. And the time of year, basically like the period in the season. Oh, we're going to come around because we got to do the south side of the tree. The closer you get to the end of maple syrup season, you actually get something that the people, they say that the syrup starts to taste buddy, as in it tastes like buds. Because then the tree, it's converting those sugars that it's taking. I'm going to turn this around and we'll get into it. So I'm going to try to put this up in a tree, hope for the best. But basically the tree, once it starts using its sugars for, what do you call it? You know, self-care for making leaves and getting its fruiting ready and stuff instead of, sorry about this shake, guys. It'll change. It'll stop in a minute. I'm just trying to get that going, and I'm very bad with this little tripod thing. Oh my goodness, that's my face. Let's see if I can go over. So yeah, as it spends its energy on, no, I can't do that. As it spends its energy on making the fruits, which are the maple keys that we've all seen that we love, the little whirligigs, I think people call them, that's their fruit. Any exterior seed bearing thing is the fruit. So in the case of maple trees, their maple keys are their fruit. There we go. It is cool today, Marcy. It's just above freezing. Might even be like hovering around freezing. But realistically, I think all the rest of these trees, I'm going to wait a few more days. The weather forecast says that it's going to be, it's supposed to have been above freezing every day for a week, but it just hasn't been, which is why I booked this tour, because I was like, I'll give everybody enough time and the weather will be right. But the weather's honestly not been super right. Flavorful has a lot to do with the soil. Maple trees are good. It's different. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. It also, I mean, if you look at, like, my maple trees are not actual sugar maples. Most of them are red maples. But you can get maple sugar or maple syrup, maple sap from just about every maple. Obviously, the highest sugar content is sugar maple, but the red maple, which I have a lot of, they also have enough that you can boil it down or whatever. You just kind of have to boil it down a bit more. The average sugar maple has 2.5% sugars. And then, interesting, thanks. New York pizza because of the water, and New York bagels. But yeah, so you boil it down till it's like syrup is 66 to 67% sugar. So you kind of take it down to 40 to 1. So you boil it for like 8 to 12 hours. Yeah. So I'll tuck this into my ear a little better. Um, so what else do we need to know about trees? Do we need to know, like, all right, well, first of all, this is not a real sugar bush that I've got here. This is just an Acadian forest, which has some maples into it. A lot of it have been cut by, subsequent generations of people doing logging, and a less kind of balanced forest has grown up in its place. But there's still some good maples. I think there's probably, on my little 13 acres, there's like 40 or 50 tappable maples, but I won't get all of them this year. But the maples themselves are really, really cool. They're autotrophic, so I know, what do I know? I know very little. I will tell you, sorry, you guys, it's really early. What autotrophic means is that it makes its food from the sun and carbon dioxide, converting the sun and carbon dioxide into sugars. Well, actually into carbohydrates and then converting those into sugars. So what we're doing in the early spring, late winter, is all the energy right now, everything that the tree has been making last summer, that it then converted and stored in its roots. Everything's down here in the roots. And so as the temperature changes and it goes above freezing during the day and below freezing at night, the sap comes up with the warmth and then goes down with the cold. And it's related also to barometric pressure, and also on the, like, trees have basic, I mean, they're not eyes, but they're photoreceptors, so they respond to light, they respond to amounts of daylight, and so their behaviors will change as the days get longer and whatever. And so then they start pushing this sugar up to feed the branches and to get the leaves going. And I've got to tend to this tree, it's got a broken branch. And so it just starts flooding it so it can make the leaves, and then the leaves can pull more sunshine and carbon dioxide from the air, making more sugar. And now the reason that it comes down in the winter is, as well as, like, it seems like an unnecessary expense to keep the sap flowing in the winter, because they're not able to, with no leaves, they're not able to really take in more. If you were to, just like a frozen pipe, if this thing were full of liquid in the winter, when a really cold snap came, it could explode, right? It could crack. The liquid expands, and you'll see that often with, like, if you get really heavy cold snaps, they can crack. Oh, someone left a tip. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Kristen. Anybody who wants to tip, please feel free. That's all we'll say about that until the end. So let's see. These trees are, I don't know how old, but 20 is like the minimum age of trees, basically, that you want to tap. You want to look for minimum 10 inches across. So this is clearly more than 10 inches. This is over a foot. Oh, yeah, I'll use feet for dimensions, Celsius for temperature, because Canada. I'll take this off now. But yeah, so you want to 12 inches across. Most trees can they'll live around 300 years. That's a good long life. They can be productive with syrup for 250 years. Am I missing questions? Where are you? Oh, Nicole, I'm on the south shore of Nova Scotia. About an hour and a half drive down the coast from Halifax, in a small town. So you can actually see where I am if you go onto Google and look up Best Kept Secret, spelled like this, Seacret. My little area comes up there. But anyway, so that, yeah, minimum 10 inches around, bigger is better. What else do we need to know before we get into it? Starches in the roots and branches of the spring internal pressure. Okay, yeah, so I guess we're gonna look into doing this. So I'm gonna show you, God, another one. Thanks, guys. This is amazing. What happens to the sap if you don't tap it? The tree uses it all. You wind up taking, if you wind up of its sap over the course of the month, or it's 4 to 8 weeks, but so let's just say month, just a little bit more than a month. You take about 7% of its sap. So it's like donating a pint of blood, I guess, something like that. So, it's not terrible for the tree, but if I think if you don't take the sap, it just doesn't have to work as hard, but I'm not really sure. So, do they only grow in Canada or can you grow productive trees elsewhere, e.g. UK? Thanks, Mikey. Rebecca, I have been told that every maple produces sap you can boil down. That's just what they do. They have sugars. Um, and like I say, if you have red maples, which I think might even be in the UK as well, but like sugar maple, red maple, black maple are all productive trees. Um, and yeah, so you should be able to do some there. Okay, so now we'll get into what you do to tap a tree. And I'm going for the low cost thing here. You can get went to a tree tapping in Toronto. Oh, that's cool. Where, in like High Park or something? Okay, so you can get really fancy, like the galvanized steel or stainless steel buckets and these beautiful steel spiles and all this stuff. And it's like 20 bucks a bucket plus $5 a lid. Or you can go to your hardware store. In my case, it's Canadian Tire, and get food grade. You got to get food grade plastic, and then drill a hole in the side and hang that off your spile, which hammers into the tree. I'll show you that in a second. Um, I mean, there's no law about any bucket. You could use yogurt containers. You could use whatever. Just make sure you can put a lid onto it because things fall into it and other animals love it. Squirrels love it. Um, it's a source of nutrients, especially this time of year, for so many animals that everybody wants to take it from you. Oh, that's cool. January of 2014. Oh yeah, Michelle, here's the spile again. So you can buy these. There's a few, I think, I don't know. There's a spot here in Canada, but that's a website that I don't remember what it's called where I ordered them from. But if you look up maple spiles and then your country, somebody will have it. I think like Tractor Supply or whatever in the States has it. A lot of the hardware stores, any farmers co-op, like where I buy my chicken feed, is lousy with them. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is let's start this from the beginning. So I'm gonna take this bucket, and you got to have a few things. So you need a bucket, you need a spile, you need a drill. Remember to charge the battery and everything. You need a little tiny rubber mallet. I tried to do some carving with this one and snap the handle because it's cheap. Piece of wood that is just whatever. And then a couple of drill bits. So the bit for tapping the trees is a 5/16. I don't know if you can see this, but like you don't need it any bigger. You actually want it the same width as oh, there you go, Home Depot, as the spile, right? So this is as much, and this is the depth. I've got the depth marked with a piece of duct tape so that I don't go any deeper than the depth of my spile because there's no need to. You just wind up hurting the tree, right? Sorry for the question. How much would you need to collect to produce a liter of syrup? Oh, don't be sorry for the questions. I'm glad we have them. The average yield is basically 40-1. So for every 40 liters of syrup or of sap you get 1 liter of syrup. And that's why it is so very expensive. Well, it's expensive for a few reasons. And some of those reasons are really cool. Here, hold on. While we talk about this, I will drill a hole in the side of the bucket. Because it's a very, very seasonal and you can't really force production, it's kind of the only non-exploitive sugar that we've ever been able to make, right? Like you can't have a plantation of maple. So actually before the Civil War, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to put a hole just at the top of the bucket so that I can hang it off the spile hook. So before the Civil War, I know, there we go. I know this is true of the States. The abolitionists before the Civil War used to use maple sugar and maple syrup to sweeten things because it was not, not involved in the sugar trade, which arguably, not arguably, was for absolutely a pretty negative thing for a lot of people in the world in the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th century. So yeah, maple syrup is kind of great for that because you're completely at uh, the whims and the mercy of nature, which is another reason I think it's really cool. Okay, so we've now drilled a small hole in our bucket, and so we can see that this small hole now will go onto our spile. See, so the hook on the spile hooks onto the bucket. So now we're going to go to our lovely tree. We want to find the side of the tree that faces south. South for me is this way. And the reason is the kind of obvious is that that's the warm side. So the sun's going to hit that, the sun's going to warm it up, and the sap flows better in the sun. So that's what we're doing. So then I'm going to take my drill, and again, 5/16 bit, and it's taped off to where I want it to go, to its depth. And I'm going to move this tree that I cut away from there. Now, I didn't tap this tree this year, or last year, I should say. This tree is new to being tapped this year. If I had tapped it and there was already a hole in it, I'd move over about 6 inches and then up a couple of inches. So you don't want to like Swiss cheese a small spot because that's just asking for a weak spot and for, critters or whatever to get in. Another thing to know, like basically as soon as you drill a hole, that tree starts healing, just like when we get a cut, right? So you are kind of fighting against time, against the healing capacity of the tree. So you can't just leave the spile in year round every year because it will begin to grow over, and it's not great to introduce like foreign bodies like that to the tree. That said, don't pack the hole when you're done. Like when sap season is over, pull it, just let it heal itself. Just like us, we heal best within reason. A small cut heals best on its own. If we're not cutting limbs off where you might need to seal or whatever, but like a little cut is fine to heal on its own. So let's see. Amazon do them in the UK. Okay, yeah, you guys are working out where to get spiles. So now I can see the sun here. The south is over this way. So I'm going to put my hole in right here, and I'm just going to go as deep as the marking. And you can kind of see, there we go. You want to get through the bark of the tree, and some of the trees, like some of the big maples, have this really heavy, beautiful bark. These ones are not super huge, so they're not quite so thick, the bark, but it's beautiful. So now you can take your little spile, and then I got my little hammer, and I got it's a little block of wood, because you see on the front of the spile, there's this little flat spot. That's also where the lid clips through, but you can also use it to put a block up against it to hammer it into the tree so you're not hammering on the thin plastic of the spout. Now, where did I put you? There you are, buddy. So now this one actually, I think I did a bad thing. Let's see. No, my angle's okay. You want to have a slightly downward angle, obviously. I just want to see. I'm having a hard time seeing. This one I think is okay, but a slight downward angle helps the sap to flow. So this is good. So now we've got the spile in. I'll get it close there for you so you can see. All right, so it's in the tree. I'm going to turn it around. It's easier to control this turned around. So you see it's got a slight downward angle. I could have done that better. Honestly, I got distracted talking, so that's on me. But My headphones are about to die. Okay, well that's okay. I can probably yell and charge them from my pocket. So, so we got the spile in place, do we? Yeah. So now you take your bucket that you have drilled the hole in the side of, and you hang it on your hook, right? So now this can get all full of falling leaves, needles, old man's beard, squirrels, whatever. So you're gonna get one of these lids. These lids, like this bucket is $3.50 as compared to like a $20 steel bucket, and it's food grade. These lids, I haven't found the best way to cheat on these yet, but the lids themselves are like $3, $4. So kind of worth it. And if you've got like a stand of 20 trees, it will be expensive your first year, but then after that, you never need to buy another thing, with the exception of, like the occasional fresh drill bit because you want a nice sharp bit. But in the spile, there is a little hole. And so you put the lid, sorry, I should show you this. So at the back of the lid, there's like, okay, hey guys, my headphones just died. I'm just checking. Can anybody still hear me? Are we still good? Is it getting bad wind or anything? Okay, thumbs up. Love it. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to let these charge real quick, and then hopefully I can get back onto them before the end of the tour, but I don't know. I've had them for a good number of years. They've treated me well. So anyway, we take the lid, and like you can see, it kind of plugs out, and then it like locks in place there, snaps in place. Thank you. So we're going to go bloop. I'm going to put it through the hole in that spile I showed you the top of, and then slide it in place, and there we go. Right, so now when I come and check it, I can take the bucket, take it off, dump it into my other bucket. These buckets are okay too because they're they're not as opaque, or they're more opaque than, you can get these blue plastic ones that are a little more expensive. Also, I love that they say Canadian Tire. This is a bit of Canadiana, guys, that this is pretty great. But so some of these buckets, if they're see-through and there's sun, you can see how much syrup's in there, right? So you don't need to dump them every day. If you're using something small like yogurt containers or whatever, then of course, how much average would you get from a tree? It changes, between 35, let me check my notes. I believe it's 35 to 50 liters a year. You know what? I have notes. I made notes, everyone. So yeah, you get between 35 and 50 liters a year. So that's about 7% of the total sap of a tree. And that's, and you can get conceivably at like when it's running just right, which only happens, like it doesn't happen that much when you're doing it the slow way, up to 12 liters a day. But that I've never gotten anywhere near that. I think my max has probably been like a liter and a half from the tree. You can see the sun hitting the tree. So we've got that in place. I'll show you up close maybe. I'm going to turn this because nobody wants to see my ugly mug. So we're going to go bloop. And see, that's where the lid goes in. And then we open it, and then it'll go down that dripper, caught in there. So, I mean, like Rebecca, last year, I think I got in total, I got about 4 liters of syrup. And I was doing this for a month with maybe 10 to 12 trees. I have a few more this year that I've found and whatever. So hopefully we get more than that. But whatever. I'm not doing this because I think I'm going to become a maple syrup baron. I'm doing it because it's a really beautiful way to be connected with the forest. There's something also, you collect for several days and then boil down. Oh, Barbara, yeah, you could. I boil once a week. The sap starts to ferment, right? Like it's high in sugar, and so it will start to eat its sugar. So 4 liters of syrup, yeah, 40 to 1.
So I boil once a week, and if you had a bigger operation, you could be boiling all the time, right? But for me, I I do it once a week, and that's fine. How long from when you put the spile in does it start to drip? Robin, on a warmer day, like right today, I'm riding the line. I'm doing, guys. If I hadn't booked a tour, I probably would wait a few more days. But when it's like a nice day, it's been freezing at night, it's warm during the day. When there's been more snowpack, this is going to be a bad year because we haven't gotten the snow, but it's instant. You put that spile in, and then it, like, by the time you've hung the bucket, put the lid on, you see your first drip. And it is incredibly satisfying to see. Barbara, it takes about 8 to 12 hours, depending on how much liquid you have. Um, I have done it on the stove. I've done it on a fire. It tastes so much better when you do it on a fire because it obviously some of the wood smoke and whatever gets into it. If you can do it with maple, um, it tastes better. Hardwood better. Hardwood tastes better. Hardwood smoke. But in a pinch, in this forest, I use pine because it's everywhere. Um, yeah. So let's see. What else do we need to know? So yeah, you've got the bucket in the tree. You've got the spile. You've got the lid onto it. You want to check it. I do basically roughly 10, 11 needed to get what. This is how big companies who sell. No, this is not, Robin. The companies who sell maple syrup, who have like proper sugar bushes, do like they've got like a vacuum method basically where all the buckets are connected. Like rather than like, sorry, not the buckets, like the spiles basically go in. Oh, thank you. And there's like tubing that runs from tree to tree to tree to tree to tree, and then it all goes to kind of a main reservoir, and so they take it that way. It's way more efficient, you know what I mean? You don't have to go around walking through the woods with a bucket and what have you. But if I'm being honest, I do this because it forces a walk in the woods. Do you keep it in the fridge before boiling? No, Angela, you keep it outside. It's below zero at night, and it's nice and warm during the day. Oh, another cool thing, actually, speaking of keeping it outside and be below zero, the way people used to gather this before Europeans came is basically they'd make a cut in the tree and put like a shim, like a shim of some sort, and then make like a bark collector underneath it. And so this would fill. And then because they weren't boiling it the same way, like they're just using fire in different ways, um, they didn't boil it. But when it freezes, what freezes is water, and what's not frozen because the sugars don't freeze as fast. You just pull the ice off the top, and it's concentrated itself. So you do that for a few days. It keeps collecting in the morning. You go around, you pull the ice off, maybe eat it, whatever. And then what you're left with is a more concentrated thing. You would never get it down to sap consistency, but it sweetens up. It becomes like a sweet, delicious thing. Marcy, yeah, I use the same trees every year. This is my second year doing it though. But yeah, so long as again you move over and up or down, just you know, don't put it all in a zone like this. You want a big zone, go around the sides. You try to be south facing still, but like just use a bigger area up and down. It helps the tree. The tree can heal it out. It's like us getting a small cut. Look at the size of these things. Look at the size of that hole is 5/16. Thank you. Um, so it's not good for the tree, but it's also it's as bad for the tree as us getting like a shaving cut, I think. Yeah. So Sugar Shack TO. Oh, there you go. Sugar Beach. I mean, it makes sense. So, what else do we need to know about that? I think that's everything we need to know for how to actually tap the tree. Is there anybody have any questions? I know we've already gone over the length of the tour, but I kind of enjoy doing them. So I can just read random. Thank you for the tip. You guys are the best. So what? Oh, well, here let's tell you. So interesting. Thank you. This has been fun for me too, guys. I'm going to do a lot more of them. I can't talk about yet what's happening on the property because I'm waiting to find out about this program I'm trying to get into. But if I do, there will be some big announcements, and you can definitely come sue. Can't talk about it, but I will tell you soon. I think it's like 2 weeks, and I find out if I am approved to get into this program I'm trying to get into that helps small entrepreneurs. And so the deal is I'm not allowed to do any marketing or selling or talk about it until I'm in, so I can't talk about it yet. But if it all comes together, it's going to be really, really, really exciting. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, using them for a lot more stuff. Sue, I've been working on land a bunch. Enjoyed the tour. Oh, thank you very much. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? We'll talk about the rest of it. What is my contact? You know what, Nicole? You can get me Erik, ERIK, at Best Kept Secret, and secret is spelled SEACRET, bestkeptsecret.ca. You can email me there. That's one way to get a hold of me. You can. I don't know if you can. If you leave message here, I don't know if you can private message. But is he frozen for anyone else? Oh no, am I frozen? Got no picture, but can hear me good. Oh no. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just squatting in front of a tree right now. So why don't we try to go a little further? No good pick here. All okay here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So on upcoming tours, what's going to happen, guys, is I will have had all the trees tapped, and we're going to go and be collecting this syrup. And I think once a week I'll do a boil. I don't know if I'm always going to do those on camera, because if we're being really honest, the maple boil is incredible when you're here. It smells good. It's fun to watch someone have a fire and boil what looks like water for 8 hours is, I mean, less cool. So we'll see how that goes. Well, thanks for coming on the tour. Strange that you've only frozen up for some of us. Yeah, that's weird. My connection is not perfect, but I think for the rest of the tour, we're going to turn around. Oh, bloop. And I'm just going to walk us to my little favorite zone, and then we'll call it a day. But frozen pick here. Oh, it's too bad. We're taking a walk on some trails now. For those who can see, thank you, Maple. For those who can see, this is the trail we've cut. So state parks. Oh, thank you. Okay, forest here. Nice. Yeah, I cleared a bunch of trail this winter, and this is what I'm doing here. And then we'll go to one of my favorite spots on the property, which, you know, maybe someday soon there might be a way you all can come and see it. So here's more trail. Hello, Emily B. Oh yeah, there's some beautiful. Sue, I can't talk about it yet. How big is the property, Barbara? It's only 13 acres, so it's not huge. But I mean, I'll show you what it does have going for it. I've got space to put up a few tents if I wanted to. And then, oh yeah, look at this bad boy. You ready? Ready for this tree nonsense? God, these trees, these gigantic, like, les grandes dames des arbres, you know, like these beautiful old pines. Thank you, DC. I appreciate it. 13 acres is huge in UK standards. I mean, it's pretty big in Canada standards too. And yeah, loads. I've seen owls, deer, martins, minks. I saw a bobcat last year. So here's a spot I've started clearing for reasons we will not discuss yet. I've heard some bears around, but I haven't seen any. Oh yeah, so, and here, check out this. Check out this. You come through here, you see it's kind of thinning. And then OMG WTF. Can you see that view, or is it just all washed out? That's the ocean. Oh God, Nicole, no. Prospector tents. The whole idea is that, or allegedly, the whole idea is that this land will go exactly back to woods the minute I've decided I'm sick and tired of people and I want them off my property. So, there we go. some of the trees? Are some of the trees down, damaged due to the? Oh yeah, yeah. The cruise ships come in, Robin. I'm like an hour and a half. Halifax I'm an hour and a half from Halifax. Yeah, so that view, guys, this is one of my favorite spots. And yeah, we've been doing, in the last summer, we did a couple of like art tours that didn't go over particularly well, but just getting like sitting with views, pen and charcoal and paper, and drawing these things, trying to make it kind of a more immersive thing. But I don't know. I don't know if it works. Thanks, Ken. Yeah. And look at this rock. Big rock fan. Anyway, this is all to say that thank you so much for coming on the first maple tour of the year. It's been a little different because we were showing how to tap trees. If anybody has any questions, you can send me emails at Eric, ERIK, at bestkeptsecret, SEACRET.ca. So that's Eric at bestkeptsecret.ca. I've lived here for 4 years now. Sue, the chickens that you would have seen from last year, there was 6 of them. They all got murdered. So now I have new chickens, I have 4 of them, and they're angry because they don't like the winter very much. But it's coming around, and they're going to start laying soon, I hope. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to do any more chicken tours because it was really hard on me when those other chickens got taken by predators. I got really bummed out for about a week. And these ones I'm just not letting be quite as wild. So they're not as much fun to watch, if I'm being really honest. But I can't handle losing another batch of chickens, which they tell me is inevitable. Hello, Fabio. But yeah, so I don't know. Like this, come to see more. At some point, we're going to do. It is, and at some point, we're going to do some other foraging tours. I've got a few really fun things. Obviously, spruce tips are coming up. I want to try to do birch syrup this year. We can also get. There's something called Magolio. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I know it's Italian. Fabio, maybe you know how to pronounce Magolio, but it's a pine cone syrup where you pack young pine cones in with brown sugar and sit on it for 3 months, 4 months, and it makes this incredible syrup. So I'm going to make more of that this year. I made a test batch last year, and it's magic. It tastes like forest, and you put it on your pancakes, and it's second only to maple syrup. How many tree types give syrup? Oh, golly. I mean, give sap. All trees have sap. Syrup you can collect from maples, from birch, from there's others. There's a ton of others, but I'm only focusing on maples and birch right now. So I apologize for not knowing the answer to that. Anyway, I should go. I have work in the woods. I've got to continue building my trails and clearing other little bits of land. I'll put this here to say goodbye. I think if I can do it. Can I do it? It's going to fall, and then it's going to go weird. So let's see. All right, there we go. Okay, everybody. Oh, that's funny. There's a stick right in the middle of it, isn't there? It makes it look authentic. Call that production value. I have to go. Oh, Robin, I have to go too, but thank you so much. Please come on more. I don't sell any, Ken. I don't make enough to sell it. I just have it to show off to my friends when they come by. But thanks so much, everybody, for coming. It was a little chaotic. It's my first one of the year. Starting with, I don't know yet. We're going to see how the weather goes, but as the weather gets better for syrup collecting, I'll have the trees tapped. Maybe the next couple of tours we might do this again. I enjoy it more when I'm going tree to tree to tree because I get more excited about seeing the buckets filled. But if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Please, the whole tip thing, I hate asking for them, so actually I'm not going to, but you know how this platform works. Otherwise, yeah, stay in touch. We'll do more maple. I'm thinking of just keeping myself honest by doing like a weekly thing just to show what I'm working on, and we can talk about woods stewardship and that sort of thing, and what I'm learning about working in the woods here, and what I got wrong when I started and whatever. And also, it's just a chance to let everybody, from their computers, have a walk in the woods, that sort of thing. Um, and I could keep talking and taking up your time all day, so I should just go. Thank you so much. Love you all. And I will do more than weekly tours, Nicole, I promise. And if anybody's got suggestions on what times work better, I'm pretty flexible, so we can make that work. I know Nova Scotia is a weird one because I'm 5 hours from the coast of Europe anywhere, and then earlier than the rest of the country here. So I'm kind of in a weird spot, and I'm not doing this at 3 o'clock in the morning my time because I don't hate myself that much. Okay, love you guys, and I will see you all on the next one. Thank you so much for coming. Blah!